Hi, it's Justin, and I hope you're enjoying my dad's videos. Make sure to share this video with family and friends, like and subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you get notified for all my dad's new videos. My social media will be tagged down below so you can follow it. And just remember, Jesus loves you.
Hi guys, just to let you know, we've got a brand new website, drcharlieward.com, where all our videos will be loaded over the next few weeks, and you'll be able to view all of those there's no charge for watching any of those. We've moved them all onto our own platform because all the doctor ones, which are very, very important, have been taken down, so we've now got control over those, but every single video we post will be free to watch. That's very important for you to know. The other thing is we're getting an awful lot of people asking us about gold and silver. And I've always been an advocate of gold and silver. And myself, I'm not in a position to give financial advice. I'm not qualified to do so. I'm just going to tell you what I've personally done. I've personally bought gold and silver, and I've used a company that I trust, which is shown below here. They've always looked after me well. And if you order from them more than £250 worth, you get a free 1 ounce silver coin, which is very, very nice. It's a nice little gift. But this is not an endorsement. This is just what I have done personally, and it's up to you. It's your choice. As I said, I'm not qualified to give the advice or financial advice, but it's just what I have done personally. And I hope you enjoy it. And I hope you enjoy watching all of my videos. Thank you. There you go. Well, welcome, Eddie and Annie. Anna.
Yes, thank you.
Welcome both of you. And before we start this chat, it's very important to say that you very, very kindly sent me some samples.
We did.
One of your products of super green juice, which I can actually show you that I have tried. I've nearly finished it.
That's what we want to see.
It's that good.
Good.
It makes you feel great. This isn't an infomercial. This is me telling you the truth about something. The mouth spray, which is also extremely good. I haven't tried. Well, I did try the CBD oil, but I'm very, very calm anyway, so I don't really need it. And I'm one of these people. If I don't need it, I don't tend to take it. But the super green juice is absolutely superb, and I would recommend it to anybody.
Thank you.
No problem at all. And of course, it's Eddie's business, isn't it,
Eddie? It is, but more than a business, it's really a passion. Years ago, my mom had a health issue, which is really sort of what started this path for me 30 plus years ago. But I have just come to appreciate that there's a role for education about food and nutrition. You know, we all live busy lives. We all have different priorities, but I do think there's a role for supplements to sort of help bridge that gap between where people are, where they want to be. And so for me, I enjoy the chance to be on shows like this and talk about it. It's more than just what I do for a living. It's a hobby. It's a passion. It's my life, because I know that people can directly impact, the quality of their health, today, how they're sleeping, energy throughout the day. And they can also work to lower their risk of degenerative diseases as time goes by. And so I love this opportunity. Thank you.
For me, it's an absolute pleasure, and it's very, very important. I mentioned to you earlier before we started this conversation that I knew what was going to happen this year for the shutdown for the global financial reset. And as much as it's been distressing for many people with being locked down because of the virus and the vaccine and everything else, through these times, it's very, very important to learn. And we need to learn. The minute they used the word virus, that we could transmit a virus, I knew it was a load of bollocks. Because you can't transmit a virus, you can transmit germs. So the minute they used the word virus, I thought this has been done by Bill Gates, because we're all scared of a virus on our computer, because that can damage the computer. But our body's actually made up of viruses. trillions of viruses. And we can transmit germs, but we can also protect ourselves. We have an immune system. I had a wonderful conversation. I've had 2 conversations with Dr. Robert Young, who pointed out that polio, cancer, AIDS, all of these things have all been created to make money for Big Pharma. He's pointing this out to people about keeping your body healthy. And if you keep your body healthy, you can fight against anything. And when you look at, I've got one of my friends, Lee Dawson. First thing he did was he went through the ingredients of your product, and he just went, wow. He said, that's got a lot of good shit in it. And that was his own words. And it keeps it real for people to understand. So when you've got a nutritionist and doctors who say that's got a lot of good stuff in it, he's very fussy what he puts in his body. I'm not so fussy. I'm quite happy with the gin and tonic, but I have to control myself. And and yeah, I'm drinking your juice right now, and it is absolutely beautiful. And you feel good when you drink it, but it's when you know that your body, its immune system. If you look after your immune system will look after you.
Yep. That's right.
And that's what this is all about.
It's one thing I think people forget is just the role. I mean, I think it's obvious for most the role that the food they're consuming or lifestyle, how it plays in health, but you got to give your body a fighting chance. That's why you try to give it some of these nutrients. Yeah.
And then it's good to mention Anna as well, because she's obviously written this very small book, Toxic World, Toxic People. And it's very, very important, this. She's put a lot of work into it, and this is very, very good for people to understand how to look after your body. And all the toxins that are out there, there are ways to build up our immune system to fight against them. And it's not drugs. It's providing exercise, healthy eating. And what Eddie was saying earlier, I'm still shocked when I think about the fact that they don't teach diet and nutrition at school.
No.
Yeah.
It's not taught. And as you may well know, I've been talking about the quantum financial system. We're talking about the quantum voting system now, which will be being used. And the one that I love, which links into you, is the quantum educational system. So that everybody will be educated to the same level without being left all right-wing biased. And I think it will be an integral part to be looking after our own bodies, exercise, what we eat. And many, many people like you, Eddie, tend to say we are what we eat.
We are.
And
we are. And that extends even to lifestyle, right? If you burn the candle at both ends, which I'm 57 years old, I sort of understand there's these periods of life where that's really required of the circumstance. But if you just do that all the time, it's kind of like over revving an engine constantly. It's going to suffer, right? Mechanically, it's going to break down, and so will your body. So trying to find that balance, and these are difficult times to try to do that with, right? The external stresses we're being just bombarded with on a daily basis. But I'm just a big advocate of just trying to hold on to some semblance of management of exercise and stress and clean water and air and putting the good stuff in your body. Just give yourself a fighting chance, right? That's all I'm looking for, is to give us all a fighting chance in these circumstances. And Anna, would you mind sharing your story? Because you've got sort of a great story of recovery that I think people would enjoy.
Yeah, I agree.
I didn't have a very easy start in life, in that I was always a sick child, and things got worse the older I got. And I didn't understand why I was so unwell, because my parents didn't understand. They didn't feed me sort of super healthy food. It was more mainstream type of food. And my father was actually a doctor. So whenever I was ill, it was always antibiotics and pharmaceutical drugs. It was nothing that was actually about building my immune system up. And I also had a lot of emotional stress from the way I was sort of raised. And yeah, I had a very tough time. I was one of those young pre-teenagers with suicidal tendencies and severe mental issues that was just passed off by my family as I was just an annoying, dramatic child that didn't ever do as I was told. Yet how I was feeling inside my mind was incredibly frightening. And it didn't get any better. And in my early 20s, again, I was very suicidal, and I literally had attempted several times by the time I was about 20, 25. And I knew something wasn't right with me, but whenever I went to see a doctor, they said it was just all in my head, that I just needed to take antidepressants, and that's all they could do for me, which I inherently knew that wasn't right. That just wasn't how things were meant to be. In 2005, I was given a flu shot by my dad, and I developed the flu pretty much straight away, and a very big lump on my arm. And I sort of said to myself, well, these don't work because I wasn't supposed to get the flu and I just got it. So that's the last time I have one of those. And then I forgot about it, moved to the UK. That was in 2006. And I got sicker and sicker. I'd always had chronic fatigue and, as I said, depression, but it just got worse and worse and worse, where I couldn't talk to people properly without forgetting what I was saying. I couldn't do any housework because I was so physically unwell. I didn't have the strength to do anything. And I wasn't even 30. So I knew that there was something not right with me. And then I started questioning things on Facebook, trying to find out what was wrong with me. And someone that I met talked about mercury poisoning. She said, Anna, your symptoms sound like you've got mercury poisoning. And I thought, what is that? Where is that from? And how could I have gotten that? And because she had been through mercury poisoning herself, she mentioned the different ways you can get that. And one of them was the flu shot. So that was a light bulb moment. I went and researched the one that was used in Australia at the time, and I found out that it had thimerosal in it, which is mercury. So looking into all of that and doing the research behind it, I just couldn't believe what I discovered, because no one had ever told me that this is what was in vaccines. And that it led me down a massive rabbit hole of different areas of toxins and where they come from. And when I was studying about mercury, I also came across lead. And I had a light bulb moment again, that when I was 5 or 6, I'd actually painted lead house paint on my arms and legs for fun, as you do when you're little. And at that time, because of my age, lead was still in house paint. So again, that was another light bulb moment, because now I had a reason or a theory as to why I was so unable to concentrate at school, and why I had broken 5 bones. By the time I was 26, I'd broken 5 bones at different times. And when you look into what lead does, it affects your bone density. So all of these things just started to become a story of what made sense as to why I was feeling the way I was, because we're not supposed to have severe depression at the age of 12. We're not supposed to have brain fog that is so debilitating that you forget what you're saying when you're really young. So this, led me on a massive journey, which is why I've written that book that is very large, as you've shown everyone. This topic is massive. You know, there's so many chemicals. There's between 80,000 to the recent stats I read was 140,000 chemicals that we all come into contact with every year. So this problem is massive. It's not something that we talk about because detoxing is trendy. This is serious stuff, and it's affecting each and every one of us, and children that are born today. And they've shown this in many studies. Over 280 plus chemicals are found in the umbilical cords of babies, which is very disturbing, because when you're a mum and you have a baby growing in your tummy, you're supposed to protect it from poisons. That's what your placenta's for. Clearly, it is not working the way it used to, because if it was, babies wouldn't be born with all these chemicals. And then we can look at what's happening with children. Their neurological disorders are increasing every year. It's normal now to have asthma, eczema. We're living in times that is so stressful for all of us that it's very, very concerning. And there's a lot of denial from the medical system about why people are so sick. And when you bring up toxicity, they just say things like, oh, you've got a liver, it's meant to detox things. You know, there's no problem unless you have a severe case of poisoning from something that's so obvious that your liver will be able to cope with it. But clearly that's not the case, because when people do go and see an environmental specialist, they will have testing done with all different types of things to do with toxicity. And it's very common for people to have tests where aluminium, cadmium, borium, all these mercury is sky high. And it's like, where's it coming from? And the answer is everywhere. It's coming from water. Even our clothes, when they're brand new, they have dyes and things on them that are just very toxic. So yeah, it's a scary subject. It can get very overwhelming, but luckily there's stuff that you can do to help your body. I won't say completely get rid of everything, because I don't think anything can do that, because every day we eat food, we drink things, and it's in the air. But this is why I absolutely love Eddie and your product, because when I was so ill with mercury poisoning, the zeolite that we're talking about today was what massively made a huge difference for me in the space of only a couple of weeks. And I think the reason why it worked so fast was because I'd had that flu vaccine in the space of about a year of me taking it. So with detoxing, if you've had something in your body for a long time, it might take a while to get all of the sort of main things out. But the zeolite for me was life-changing, and I'll be forever grateful, because when I was so unwell, I was very mentally unwell, which meant I had so many arguments and fights with my husband. I mean, it's a miracle he stuck around. But the thing is, chemicals do different things. Each of them has a different effect, whether it affects your kidneys or your bones. It affects the brain as well, especially when there's so many all lumped together. No wonder there's so much depression in the world. So yeah, for me, it's a miracle that I'm here today feeling relatively normal, because growing up, life for me was not like that. So
But when you consider that you've managed to write that book of such magnitude after being through so much, that's an achievement in itself.
Thank you. Yeah, it was, I said it was not, I didn't think it would turn out to be that big. And the book's not just about toxins. I combined it with the fact that we're toxic because of the environmental factors, but also because of the way we're being raised. We've got unhappy parents out there who are raising children without dealing with their own emotions. And obviously that causes sort of psychological trauma for children. And I've experienced both from the overload of chemicals and from, growing up in a household where my parents were quite critical, quite cold and dismissive. And I know now that I'm not alone. It's a real problem for so many people. And I think it has a huge effect on society, because people are meant to be happy and they're meant to be healthy. And when you're happy and healthy, you treat other people well. So
I've started to realize that because big pharmaceutical companies were making so much money out of illness, they were funding these things to make people ill.
yeah.
Reality is that if we look after ourselves and keep, no disrespect to doctors, but keep away from them, because they're just practicing, and they're also trying to make money for big pharmaceutical companies. You can actually look after yourself with very, very simple things, like these juices, like bicarbonate of sodium and water, putting your body into an alkaline state at nighttime when you're sleeping. Just simple things.
Yep.
And your body, if you look after your body properly, it will look after you. It's a very, very good, I'll call it a piece of machinery, but it's an amazing, it's amazing what it can do.
Yeah.
Given the opportunity.
It's very true. Very true. And I saw that exactly from my own, experience, that I was always seeing different doctors and getting different prescriptions for things, and it always made me worse. And it wasn't until I cleaned up my body and sorted my nervous system out and gave my body good nutrition that I was able to start healing. Because if you have so many toxins, and I was probably more than the average person because I'd had poisoning on, many levels from things. But if you don't sort that out, then the body it's like it's too stressed to kind of know what to do. So, when people say detox, it's really not, it shouldn't be seen as a trendy word. It should be seen as something we all need to do, because how can your body cope with 140,000 plus chemicals every year? It just can't do that. We're not supermen and women.
I used to go to Thailand every single year to a detox clinic or place. I used to go for 10 days.
Oh, nice.
Or 2 weeks. But I would not eat anything for 10 days. I would have tablets and water for my vitamin intake. And the strange thing I don't often talk about, a colonic irrigation in the morning and one at night, 2 a day for 14 days, or 10 or 14 days. Complete body detox. But afterwards, your skin texture and everything changes so dramatically.
Yeah.
And that's that. I was blessed in being able to do that. And it was for me. It was like having a car and taking it in for an annual service. I get so much abuse in the year. It needed a detox, I promise you. But it's amazing how quickly your body can recover if you look after it.
Exactly. That's right. And when I tried the zeolite, I didn't actually know what it was. I just took it because my friend said it's amazing, it's worked for me. I had mercury poisoning from all the fillings I had taken out. But it's really fascinating to hear about what it does and why it works that way. Because when I first looked into it, it was extraordinary. I thought, wow, Mother Nature really has everything we need. So Eddie, you might be better than me at explaining about what it is and how it works and the science behind it.
Yeah. And it's true what you said, right? The body is equipped to handle toxins on a certain level. As Charlie described, right? We have functions, we have immune systems and things like this. However, these man-made toxins at such a volume isn't really something biologically we're geared towards. I'll give folks kind of an example. I don't know if you folks on here are old enough to recall in the 1950s, there was this big push to get us away from butter because it was saturated fat to margarine. And margarine was a trans fat where they basically stuffed a hydrogen molecule, at 400 plus degrees Fahrenheit in there to make it more sturdy. Truth is, they did that because then that oil could be used over and over in restaurants without degrading. That was really the motivation behind it, a commercial situation. But that was a molecule the body couldn't deal with. So it just exacerbated everything associated with cardiovascular disease, heart attacks, hardening of the arteries, all these things. And so the reality is our bodies are brilliant. Charlie, to your point, genius in every way possible in their creation, but there are just things externally coming at us we can't manage. And so while we might do the best we can with the food supply, the air we breathe, the water, the soil, dental fillings, cosmetics, volatile organics found in household cleaners, it's just out there. So what I look at the zeolite as is this really specific and really, I don't mean this in a hyperbole sort of way, this sort of miracle mineral. So zeolites have been around a long time. If anybody chooses to do some research, there's, go back hundreds of years. You can go back to the Chinese who had clay eating societies develop around riversides, where basically people with dysentery would go to essentially die, because that was a death sentence during those periods of time. Somewhere along the way, somebody ate dirt, and that dirt was clay that had zeolites in it, and it acted to disrupt the viral replication associated with the dysentery. Now, I'm not trying to say by any means this is some kind of cure for virus. Let's just set those subject matters aside. The bottom line is people actually survived dysentery back then, which, really wasn't something that occurred. And so along the way, we know the Romans used clay piping for their plumbing and sewer systems that allowed them to have city centers without disease. We know that zeolites have been used to help cap Chernobyl and Fukushima. So we know a lot about their properties, but specifically a type of zeolite called clinoptilolite, natural zeolite. We do not work with anything synthetic here. There are multiple reasons why, and if we ever want to get into the science of that, I can get into it, but it has to do with its bondage strength. But we work with a naturally mined zeolite. We mine it here in the United States in a pristine environment. It has California Prop 65 status as a raw zeolite. So this is a clean product. We have all of our third-party labs up on our website demonstrating this. But this zeolite has a natural cage-like structure that has a negative charge. And it's pretty simple, Charlie, how it works. Basically, these volatile organics and other things you're not wanting in your body. We can be talking about hexavalent chromium, lead, cadmium, mercury. They have a positive charge. And so based upon proximity, as they get near the zeolite particle, they snap together in the same way you might think of, say, the north end and the south end of a magnet coming together, and it creates a bond, or it binds. And because we don't have receptor sites for zeolites in our body, it processes out based upon your renal or bowel function in about a 4 to 6 hour period of time. And because it works on proximity, right? If a person just simply uses it, it's odorless, it's tasteless. It's a odorless, tasteless spray that absorbs principally mucously. Yeah, there you go. If you use it 3 or 4 times a day, you've got this circulating cleaner, right? Literally this thing floating through the body to help get these toxins out of your body. And you can't live in a bubble, right? We know none of us live in a bubble. Whatever's coming down from the sky or wherever it happens to be, right? We're all exposed. And so I view this in the same way I view trying to get micronutrients like you see in the greens juice, right? I view this as giving my body a chance. So we have a fundamental philosophy: get as much of the bad stuff out as you possibly can on a daily systemic basis, because it's just there. Put as much of the good stuff in as you possibly can with superfoods, by just trying to make good choices on the food that you eat. And then you were talking about the CBD. Not everybody is able to maintain their balance and manage stress as you are. That's years of accumulated wisdom to be able to do that. And so this is a way for people to avoid prescription or non-prescription drugs or alcohol, and as a constant basis to manage life stress. And so we believe if you get the bad stuff out, put some good stuff in, help the body with balance, you got a fighting chance, right? And all this is about just improving the quality of life in the moment, trying to get a decent night's sleep, trying to have a little bit of energy throughout the day without drinking 2 pots of coffee, and giving yourself the best chance possible to live your best life, right? I mean, that's all this is about giving people a chance.
And once you've got a healthy body, you get a healthy mind.
You do.
They seem to go together hand in hand. But and a healthy body and a healthy mind is so necessary when we're living in a time of chaos like we are right now, because you start to see things very clearly. But when you've got an unhealthy body and an unhealthy mind, you can spiral into depression and frustration and everything very, very easily.
Yeah. And we can see that's what's happening with people speaking out about all of the lockdowns and what it's doing to people's mental health. The system over here is full anyway of problems because of that, but it's even worse now. And I dread to think what the suicide rates are going to be like when those figures are released early next year.
Yeah,
it'll have a huge effect, definitely, on not just suicides but heart attacks.
Yep.
There's going to be what people are overlooking as well, but by enforcing mask wearing, It breaks down your immune system between 17 and 20%, which takes you into a dangerous area when germs actually come out in the winter.
That's right.
And
Yeah.
old people will suffer an awful lot. So it's very important that me personally, I've refused to wear a mask from day one. The only good reason for there's two good reasons for wearing a mask. One, if you want to rob a bank, there's no point in doing that because they've got no money. And the second one is if they're still doing chemtrails, it might protect you from them. So there may be a hidden agenda there that might be worthwhile because they're still doing chemtrails here in southern Spain, which is most of our countries are still run by deep state. So Donald Trump is trying to get rid of those. But forgetting the political side right now, it's very, very important that we focus on looking after ourselves.
Yes.
It's a question of eating the right thing, doing exercise. And as I said to people before with my exercise, when I started doing exercise, I was nearly 20 kilos heavier than I am now. And when I did about 150 meters, I was absolutely knackered. But I didn't do it anymore. And I built it up slowly so that you don't overdo it. And then when you build it up slow, it becomes easier. Now, if I'm doing 10K dead easy, I can do 20, 30K without any problem at all and thoroughly enjoy it. And it makes it enjoyable when you build it up. If you overdo it to start with, stop, that's not good either. Just do little and often and build it up. And when it comes to your diet, your fitness, everything, day by day, step by step, look after your immune system.
That's
and
right.
then you'll be amazed how it will look after you.
Yeah, that's so true. And it really is like that. I know when I was very toxic, I was always feeling ill. I had so many physical ailments and I got colds all the time. And, you know, it was no day ever felt good. And the mental state was just, you know, it's really amazing that I've turned out the way I have because it was torture being so depressed for so long and not knowing why and just thinking that there was something wrong with me that was my fault. And then when I pieced it all together, it actually just made a whole lot of sense that the body and the brain can't cope with too much poisoning that is scientifically proven. I mean, with mercury, you can even find it on YouTube, with mercury being injected into some nerve endings and they just disintegrate right before your eyes. So, and aluminium is staying in people's brain tissues as well. And no wonder there is a massive increase in Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. So for that reason alone, like no one wants to develop that. We all know people who've got it and it's awful. My grandma died of Alzheimer's and it was an absolute tragedy to see what happened to her. Yet I knew, because I'd already started doing research then. In fact, I've never told you this, Eddie, but when she was so unwell, I went up to stay with her and I put some zeolite in the tea bags so that she would get some. But, you know, I only went there for one weekend. It wasn't like I'd been there for months and months and she had it every day. But I knew that a lot of her problem was from aluminium exposure, which is actually found in tea, and loads of biscuits because elderly people don't have a good diet generally. And she just ate so much wheat, so much rubbish. And yeah, I just think, I said for that reason alone, to lessen your toxic load for yourself is one of the best things you can do because no one wants to end up having no memory, not knowing who you are, not knowing who your family is. And the statistics for the development of that is skyrocketing every year.
People need to be aware also that this can be prevented rather than just sitting back and going, well, it's just natural. It's not just natural at all. It's been man-made. All this stuff that damages your health is man-made with the pharmaceutical business. And we need to get that register with people that you can actually look after your body and it will look after you.
I mean, I couldn't believe more. I think that's the issue I spend my day on is trying to get people to just realize, hey, you've got a heck of a lot more control than you think. You only don't really have control if you surrender, right? Just don't surrender, right? Wake up and do those things that are common sense to you. Everything you eat should not come out of a package, right? Do your best to try to eat some things that need to be prepared, or they don't have preservatives in them, so they last forever. There's just some common sense stuff, and build a routine, right? I'm so impressed with what you're doing with your walking and your exercising. I mean, exercise is actually a way the body detoxes, both through sweat and the excess air that's circulating through the body. All of these things are sort of supportive of the dynamics that we're talking about. The super green, I know we're mostly focused on the zeolite day, but the super green juice, all those deep leaf green vegetables that go into there, they all support the body's way that it eliminates waste and toxins, right? There's lots of things we can do. It's just about having a strategy.
That's right. And two things I sort of learnt this year that was really affecting lots of us is that affect the way we detox is the methylation gene problem. That, it's MTHFR. I could never say because it's a really long thing, but anyone who's studied nutrition will know what I'm talking about. But they reckon at least almost 50% of the population have this problem, and it's very important for detoxing. And so if you have this issue, it means that you will hold on to toxins a lot more than the other person that doesn't have that gene issue. And it's one of the theories behind autism, that these children are being born with this gene mutation, and then when they get toxins from all different areas, their bodies can't cope with it, and it causes these neurological problems. And then the other one that I've just recently learned about, because I just finished making a film on it, is the fact that most people have a very weak diaphragm from stress, and they're also born that way. And that when your diaphragm's not working properly, it means you're not breathing properly, and therefore you're not detoxing properly. So we're really in difficult waters with what's happening to people, which is why I'm very passionate about what Eddie's doing with his product, because there's nothing else like it. There's no other nothing else that is natural that does that. And some of the things that are used in the medical system, which is a chelation therapy, as your mum discovered, Eddie, isn't really that gentle on your body. It takes out precious minerals and vitamins and things, which can actually be terrible for someone's health in the long run. But with zeolite, it doesn't take what it shouldn't. It only takes away the nasty stuff. So, and it's great for kids. That's what I love about it. You can give it to really young children. It's safe, doesn't have any bad side effects. It doesn't stay in the body. And because of what I've learned and researched, kids need to be on this stuff, as do we. You've only got to look at childhood cancers. Some of them have tripled in the last 10, 15 years. I mean, no child should be developing brain tumors and other different cancers, yet every year the statistics are getting worse. So yeah, I think this is a very important subject, and I hope people that are out there listening go and do some of their own research if this is a new subject, and also to look at what Eddie's product does, because on the website there's loads of science. There's over 300 PubMed studies showing that zeolite has a positive effect on detoxing. So I've had my life dramatically changed by this stuff. And if I don't take it, I notice the effect, because I have more than likely, I haven't been tested, but I would be betting a lot of money that I've got this methylation issue. So for me, taking something every day is so important. And if I don't, I can see it in my eyes. They don't look very healthy. I feel tired. And so many people are feeling that way, aren't they? Just sluggish and tired, and sleep doesn't make them feel good, and they're moody. Lots of experts out there say that the first thing we need to do is sort out the cellular toxicity that's happening.
Agreed.
Your husband could probably be the best judge of that.
Yep. Yeah. Well, the embarrassing thing is the first time I took zeolite, he said to me, or said to a friend when I was talking about what, how amazing it was, he said, "I know it works." And I said, "How do you know?" And he said, "Because you used to smell bad, because you used to smell like off milk."
Yeah.
I was like, Jesus, you didn't tell me that. How embarrassing. But I was so pleased that had gone away, that I didn't smell like off cheese or something anymore.
Isn't that amazing, hey?
But it makes sense, doesn't it? Sweating is a normal thing. We should do it. We need to do it because its job is to get rid of toxins. And when you're too toxic, it's not going to smell so good. So yeah, our body gives us clues all the times. That's why, in Chinese medicine, they'll look at your tongue, they'll look at your eyes, look at your skin, your nails, feel your pulse. They know to look for clues because the body never lies.
Yeah. No, I can certainly recommend it. It's certainly, and you can feel it when you actually drink it. You can feel the spray when you spray it. Justin, by the way, he absolutely loves it.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
He absolutely loves it. He's had more than I have of it.
How long have you been taking it for? Have you had it longer than a month, or is it sort of 3 or 4?
No, we've only had it for about 2 to 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
Right.
But
it's
the
3-week mark is usually when people really go, wow, I feel different. I feel like I've got more energy. I can think better. But some of the testimonials that we get are really quite amazing. One of our friends, Larry Cook, who has been sharing this product since the beginning of the year, he gets loads of private messages and emails from people because he has a community of parents with vaccine damaged children, and some of the stories that come in are just,
it's remarkable.
Yep, that it really is, with autistic kids who start to sleep better, or they go to the toilet without being in pain. Yeah, their behavior's better. It's like big things for the parents to see happen to their children. This is not, a placebo effect, because when you give supplements to kids with autism, they don't know that they're taking it, and they don't know to tell themselves this is going to work. So it's it's stuff that really works. So Eddie, you might want to tell everyone about your amazing special offer that you've got.
Yeah.
Well, it's the result of Charlie and what he wants to do for his audience. And so I'm sure when the video is posted, there will be a link at the bottom, but essentially the product is normally at retail $79.95 USD. And that's for approximately a 30-day supply. It sort of depends on the circumstances, how much a person uses. It's a nano-sized product. We don't need to get into all of those details, but it's quite a remarkable technology. But because of this group and really how Charlie feels about you, we have basically set aside 1,000 bottles at $5 each to be available to this audience. And so for anybody that's curious, you can investigate this for $5. Mm-hmm. Now, it depends on your location. It may also come with free shipping. So I know this broadcast goes all over the world. So anywhere you are, though, the shipping will be discounted. But essentially, when you look at the page and read about it, and as Anna said, there's a ton of details there. If you're one of those people that really want to dive into the details, those details are all there. If you want to see what people are saying, they use the product. We have more than 10,000 reviews on our work and what we do. We're proud of sort of who we are and how we treat customers. I've been in the supplement business for 30 years. I started Touchstone Essentials in 2012. So really a super natural, whole food, organic focus. This product, though, when you go to checkout, you'll have a choice. You can put it on subscription and get the first bottle for $5. The reason that's there is the subscription price at $63.83 is the next biggest discount that we have. And so that will allow you to get the bottle for $5. You sort of unlock the $5 special. If you decide, within a matter of hours or days after you receive the product, you don't want an additional shipment, it's easy just to either call, chat, email our customer support, or you can even navigate in the back office and do it yourself. Just simply turn the subscription off. It's really up to you in that regard. We know for most people, once they use the product, they're going to understand the value, and so we're not worried about that. Or you can take it without subscription and just get it at the regular price. And so we're happy to do this. We appreciate what Charlie's doing and the outreach. We set those bottles aside for this group, and so we believe you're going to enjoy it. And we believe if you've not really delved into these issues, once you sort of realize the role that toxins play in sort of slowing the body down and have a general negative impact, and then what happens when you start to put the good stuff back in, it can be the key to sort of unlocking some energy and some good vibes about how you're living and managing these chaotic times. And so we hope you'll take us up on it. Basically, you got $5 as sort of your risk here, and we believe you'll be quite satisfied with what you see, just like Charlie is.
Yeah, I certainly am. It's absolutely wonderful, and I'll have all the links posted below so you can see them all here, so that you can connect and try this out and see if you agree with me. I think it's absolutely wonderful. And thank you very much, Eddie, and thank you very much, Anna.
Oh, thank you for having us.
You're living proof.
Yeah, thank you.
As I'm just a virgin, I've only just started, but you've been trying it for a long time. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Charlie. Thank you for the time, and a pleasure to work with you and your team.
Absolute pleasure.
Thank you for what you're doing for everyone. It's so nice to listen to your positivity instead of all this doom and gloom stuff. Yeah. So I appreciate what you...
D-Day tomorrow as well.
Yep.
Or E-Date.
Yep. No, it's going to be an interesting week ahead, a week or two.
Isn't it just?
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hi, it's Justin, and I hope you're enjoying my dad's videos. Make sure to share this video with family and friends, like and subscribe, and turn on post notifications so you get notified for all my dad's new videos. My social media will be tagged down below so you can follow it. And just remember, Jesus loves you.